Ludus Vulpes.
Hi, it's Phil from Ludus Vulpes, and this video today is maybe a little bit different. This was filmed on the last day of Essen Spiel, and this is, on the previous video we met a guy called Philipp and we talked about his little prototype, Caravan, which is a fantastic looking game. And so on our last day at Essen we decided that it would be really nice for us to go back to Philipp Kehl, and actually ask him to give us a little bit of a demo of the game, but also record that demo for your viewing pleasure. Now, it's important to realise that Philipp is looking for a publisher. He has a wonderful prototype of a really lovely looking game that looks like it's going to play really well and really nicely for families and more casual gamers. So if you do know a publisher and after watching this video you think, yeah, you know, I'd like to see this game published, then get in touch with either ourselves or Philipp directly. You'll find his details on this screen or the previous screen. And as it stands now, it's over to Kirsty for the video.
So here we are at Essen on the last day, and Kirsty from Ludus Vulpes. We are here with Philipp, who is advertising his game, Caravan. Caravan. So, would you like to give us a quick run through of how the game works?
Yes, it's my pleasure.
Thank you.
Caravan is a prototype of an upcoming game, so I'm currently looking for a publisher or anyone who wants me help with networking or whatever is possible.
Okay. Yeah.
So, it's a family game for 2 to 4 players starting from 8 years, so for the whole family.
Perfect.
The idea is you're on a vacation, every player plays a little caravan or RV.
That's
you
very
drive
cute.
across a national park. And during the game you build the park, so each player lays down some landscape tiles, the game grows and grows and grows, and you drive the caravan across the board. The idea is that you drive to as many campsites as possible, so who has the best and most valuable campsites at the end of the game is the winner.
Okay.
Should I do a small run?
Yeah, if you're happy to. Yeah.
How the board builds. All right.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So each player at the beginning of the turn has in front of him 4 landscape tiles,
Okay.
and he can pick up to 2 of them and place them on the board. So for instance, he takes this and this. They always have to align perfectly, so roads have to connect and dirt roads have to connect as well. Once he's done, he refills from the side. For all players at the side, there's a random selection setting. He picks the ones he likes the most, and then he can move. If he places 2 tiles on the board, he can move for 2 spaces. If he places just 1, he can move 1.
Okay.
It doesn't necessarily have to be the tile he placed down, but the number of spaces you can go depends on the number of tiles you put down. So in this case, the player can move 2 tiles. He reaches a campsite. If you reach a campsite at the end of your turn, you mark it, and now the campsite counts for you at the end of the game. So here you can see at the moment it's worth 1 point.
Okay.
Now the turn is over, next player starts, and the same happens. So we might fast forward a little bit so we see how this thing evolves. Let's just assume some things happened. For instance,
It's really nice artwork.
thank
It's
you.
really nice. Do you do the artwork yourself?
Parts of it. I did the artwork for the tiles
very
and for the RVs and all the graphic design. Some illustrations are not from me.
Yeah. It's beautiful.
Thank you. So let's assume 3-4 rounds into the game. Maybe the blue player managed to go here. He marked the campsite for himself. So already we see this is a more valuable campsite. It's got 2 points because only 1 player at a time can go there. It's got 1 parking space, whereas here all players can go at the same time, so it's worth a little bit less. And it's a more secluded campsite, so you're going to drive in the woods to reach it. It's worth 1 additional point. So all the tiles that are around the campsite can get upgrades. So at the moment this is a 3-point campsite. So what can happen over the course of the game? This campsite is not exclusively for 1 player, so maybe the blue player leaves, the red player goes, the blue player goes somewhere else, the red player comes. If another player reaches the campsite, he can mark it for himself as well. So now at the moment, at the end of the game, both players would get the 3 points. But that's not the end of the thing. So if the red player leaves, goes somewhere else, does whatever he wants somewhere in the national park, the blue player might return at a later point put down another tile, and now you turn them around. So the one who has at first 2 tiles on the board gets 2 additional points. So you have sort of a first prize. But everyone else, maybe the yellow player, the point comes here, can place down 1 tile, so they score the base value of the campsite. So, what else can you do? You can upgrade your campsite. In the landscape tiles, there are different things that can come on your hand. Like so. We have 2 types of additional landscapes and activities. These you can place around the campsite, so on all fields around the campsite, if it makes sense. Of course, you cannot do this because of the road, but this would be working perfectly and count for this campsite. So now the campsite is worth 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, and for the blue player, even 7 points because he scored the first rank. In that way, you can build campsites that are more and more valuable. Since you always have some cards sitting on your hand and some you draft, you can save some very important cards for later, which gives a little strategic element. There's an additional little mechanic. Instead of placing your 2 cards on the board, you can just set them on the side. Throw them away, they're gone for good. Now you can go 2 fields per card. So if you throw away 2 of them, you can go up to 4 spaces. You can boost, basically.
Okay, that's cool.
Foot down on the accelerator.
Exactly. And still you have to refill. You also can do a combination, put down 1 tile, throw away 1, and then go 3. But you always have to do the steps you put down. You cannot buy 3 and just go 1. Then you have to walk 3. So if you want to reach a certain point, you have to calculate how to put your tiles. So this is a little challenge. If you accelerate, if you at least throw away 1 card to get a double tap, you have to pick a card from the emergency deck because your car might break down. You can be lucky, nothing happens. But over the course of time, you can have a flat tire, for instance, or an engine breakdown.
That's brilliant.
Each player has a little marker board where you score your points. During the course of the game, things like this might happen. Now we have a little flat tire, so we go in the minus section. We get a penalty.
Okay.
But it might also happen that you end your turn on a field with a little eye icon, because sometimes you just don't reach a campsite, nothing important happens. If you stop on an eye, you can pick a card from the spotting deck where you can see animals at the side of the road. Again, you have the possibility that nothing happens, but you might come across a very, very rare animal. So there are additional points hidden 1 to 3, which you can accumulate also on the game. So depending how often you stop and look for animals or how much you step on the gas, here you can have a little bit motion going on. So at the end of the game, all players are split apart a little bit based on their playstyle. At the very end of the game, you calculate the campsites, because these might change over time. So once the last round is played, the game runs for 14 rounds. Each round is a day, so you do a vacation for 2 weeks. At the end of round 14, all players somehow have to manage to leave the national park for good through the exit. If you don't manage, you lose, so it's a very hard condition. No points for you. But if you manage, and typically most players do, then you go over all campsites and calculate the value for all players. So it's always. And then you mark them down and you see who is the winner.
Fantastic.
Perfect. It's such a beautiful little game.
Yeah.
I really, really like it. It's got so much potential. I like the little caravans as well.
Yeah, a friend of mine did this as a little prototype. I could very well imagine to do this. You can even do it as a wood cutout, maybe with a little print on the side, so to have a bit more flavor to it. It could be great fun for the whole family, I think.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for showing me the game. And we really hope that you're able to find a publisher. If there's anybody who is interested in getting the details, drop us a comment, send us a message. We're on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Also, this is the details for Philipp Direct.
thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for helping me out. I appreciate it a lot.
See you soon.